What is going on, y'all? Hold on, let me get this together. What is going on, y'all? I hope that everyone is doing well, that you are enjoying your weekend so far. And baby, it's been one hell of a. I was about to start cussing. It's a hell of a damn weekend, ain't it? A lot of stuff transpired that has me like, oh my God, oh my Lord, oh my God. So I felt like, okay, if there's any time to try to bring some balance or something to the situation, I feel like now is the time. For those of you who are just joining me for the first time, hello, how are you doing? My name is BubzDaGawd. We free over here, okay? Which may seem a little different, seem a little extreme maybe for some people. But I mean, that's what freedom is. Freedom means there's no limit. Freedom means being yourself. And when you are yourself, you receive all the things that God, source, universe has for you. And once we start looking at life in that way, um, I believe we begin to work smarter and not harder. Okay, but the book that we've been reading so far called Ascension, we are now at chapter 9, really helps us to look at ourselves so that we can make the transition from working harder to working smarter. Okay, I feel like we work backwards. We work from the outside in as opposed from the inside out. And when you're working smarter, you're working from the inside out, walking by faith and realizing that you're literally manifesting your reality. And this book helps us to look at certain parts of our egos and the human side of us that kind of make the whole awareness, higher consciousness type of thing difficult. But once again, this is just information that is shared through, I believe it's the Ashayas is what they're called, is what these people are called as far as the identity of those who gave the analysis or started Ascension. Again, it's information. You have to make the choice to take what is yours and leave the rest. And all of these books, Ascension and some of the other books that we'll be reading in the future, I know for a fact that they have one core fundamental element, which is to make it about you. Make it about you. And it took me a while to really learn how to make it about me. But now that I'm in a place of making it about me, I'm finding my power, I'm finding my tribe, I'm manifesting things on my end that is a very beautiful, beautiful thing. And of course, I want to share this information with those who want it and those who are also trying to manifest their own best life as well. So we're here to do it together. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to take another sip of water before we get started. And also, before we get started, I'm going to let y'all know right now, I'm going to probably mess up some words in this book, okay? I might stutter, I might stumble, I might have to, reset and go back to the beginning. So there's going to be some discrepancies within this podcast. But again, I'm still going to be BubzDaGawd. I mean, God's still going to bless me regardless, okay? And some people like stuttering tongues, if you know what I mean, in the right circumstances. I'm just saying, okay? But anyway, let me take this sip and give me a few moments. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Leave it like this. I cannot wait till I get this stuff fixed as far as to get this, because I would love to have this music at a perfect volume. But we nigger rig stuff over here, so it is what it is. Anyway, let's jump into it, y'all. This is chapter 9, which is called Universal Acceptance. Okay, so before we get started, make sure you got your smoke with you. Okay, hit your stuff, because I sure did hit mine before I started. That's why it took me a little, long in the beginning to kind of come through. But make sure you got that stuff. Make sure you sipping on something, and make sure that you are at ease, that you are in an altered type of state. And let's really dig deep into it, okay? When I accept others as they are, they change. When I accept myself as I am, I change. And that's by Carl Rogers. Ascension is universal. Those of any religious background can and do learn this practice. The teachers of Ascension uphold all religious traditions and honor all religious leaders, past and present. Any and all attempts to grow towards the ascendant are beneficial. Any and all past attempts have contributed greatly to human life. We honor all and condemn none, for we know that everyone in deepest essence is a spark of the divine flame. The external differences that are so apparent in the earth life are quite superficial compared to the infinite, never-changing light that underlies and permeates all of creation. This inner light accepts all, flatters none, and condemns none. I mean, how could it? It is the essential reality of everyone, of everything, everywhere, always. This attitude of universal acceptance can be artificially cultured. It is, after all, only a mental habit that leads us to condemn others. And any habit can be changed. If it is possible to think with judgment about ourselves and others, it is certainly possible, and definitely easier, to think without judgment, with perfect acceptance of ourselves and everyone else. How often have we condemned others? How often do we berate ourselves for some of our habits that we have judged unworthy? But there is a part of us that will continue to strengthen our bad habits to match our will step by step, energy level by energy level. For there is a part of our soul that insists we love ourselves regardless of our condemned habits. There is a point deep inside each of us that consists of perfect ruthlessness, of absolute lack of pity. Our higher self is committed to our learning all that is necessary to learn. Our higher self is committed to our learning all that it is necessary to learn. We will do anything required to our lower selves in order to learn. And I mean anything. Crippling disease, early death, misshapen bodies, there's a lot of that, hideous, destructive habits, anything at all, and all for growth. Similarly, for our attitude towards others. Others wish to be loved just as they are. They don't wish to change to suit our desires. I mean, why should they? Does the sun fail to shine for them too? Has the oxygen ceased to nourish their cells? If the universe continues to accept and love them just as they are, why are we any less gracious? This may be one of the harder principles to grasp, for we have all devoted vast quantities of our energy to support our beliefs that some standards of behavior are better than others. We have a deep propensity to think like herd animals. Actions are all right as long as others do them or accept them. Why is there a drug problem in this country? One reason is that our peers' opinions and feelings are much more important than impersonal authority figures, even when the authority figures have no end to the logic and science backing up their opinions. Is there then no universal standard of behavior? From the viewpoint and standpoint of the ascendant, no one has ever left or ever will leave or even can leave infinite consciousness. But from the perspective of beings who have forgotten everything of the ascendant, even the fact of its existence, it is obvious that some actions will keep us from remembering who we are longer than will others. And certain acts will propel us in the direction of removing the self-imposed blocks to experience of the ascendant, whereas others will increase the obstructions. Certain foods nourish the body more than others. Certain kinds of exercise are more useful than others. Certain ways of thinking are beneficial, others are not. Certain beliefs are useful for our evolution, some are not. Certain habits and actions speed our progress, others hinder our growth and the growth of others. Now, such actions are not sins. We are not punished for slowing our evolution or others' evolutions. But we do experience less happiness when we hinder growth. And in the sense, we suffer and would be happier by choosing again to remake those particular choices which are causing pain. This is the application of the law of cause and effect in the human sphere, the law of karma as it was known in the East, the law of retribution as it was called by Emerson and others in the West, the fundamental creed of every religion, the golden rule which was perhaps best expressed in Galilee nearly 2,000 years ago. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and as you sow, so shall you reap, Lord. If we plant seeds of fear, discord, and disharmony, we will certainly harvest a crop of unhappiness. If we plant the seeds of love, the invincible forces of nature will respond by bringing an abundant harvest of joy and love into our world. This is why it's important to treat others as we wish to be treated. not because we can permanently injure them or ourselves, since we are all eternal impulses of life, that is impossible. Bodies can and will be lost, souls never. But we can slow others' return to their source, or we can hasten it. And as we slow or hasten others' return, our return will be slowed or hastened, for the others in our universe are, in the final analysis, only extensions of ourselves. If we are devoted to material gains or material possessions, our focus is on that which will pass away. If our energy goes to these mutable things and not to that which never changes, our life will inevitably meet with decay and death. But if, on the other hand, we devote our existence to that which never changes, our life will respond by becoming more and more imbued with the dynamic and invaluable qualities of the ascendant. Now, from the standpoint of eternity, what difference does it make if it takes an immortal impulse of eternal life, a day or a year or 100 million years, to remember it is an immortal impulse of eternal life? How much difference to infinity, any number, how large? There is none. But from the standpoint of the forgetful impulse, a day does indeed seem different from 100 million years. It's all a matter of perspective. When we are young, if the arm of our prized doll breaks, we experience terrible pain and we may roll on the floor in tears. Our wise and loving mother, drying our tears, repairs the arm or buys us a new and better doll, or in some other way expands the horizon of our experience. From the point of view of the mature adult, the child's problems are generally easy to solve. Only adults who are still themselves emotionally children have trouble with these situations. Many may find taking this one step further difficult, but it is certainly valuable. When our universe is shaken to its core by the death of a loved one, or by a terrible debilitating illness, or by another of the innumerable vicissitudes of earth life, it is only humans to shake our fist at the Creator, to feel anger, pain, suffering. It is only human, but it is not divine. Not only is it not necessary to suffer in this human life, it is never necessary or even useful to struggle against the natural current of our lives. We may not always understand or remember where we are going. We may not always understand or remember why we experience our lives as we do. But this does not mean that we will never understand or remember. Sometimes a little more patience is all that is required. Sometimes a slightly different way of looking at our lives or world is all that is necessary. And sometimes we need to demonstrate to ourselves that we really are, after all, the ones who created our world exactly as it is. This concept may seem quite startling upon first contact. We normally think that we are thrust, all unwilling, into a universe that we most certainly did not create. We feel our parents owe us a living for making us. After all, we didn't ask to be born. Did we? From this initially hostile world, we are supposed to make something out of our lives. We are supposed to succeed, progress, prosper, be responsible adults and citizens. Impersonal fate or a wrathful God may have dealt us a hard hand. We may have damaged bodies, or our external circumstances may have been extremely hard from birth. We may have been born addicted or diseased. We may have been born with a weak heart or liver. In these cases, We are supposed to make the best of our lives in the world, to preserve and succeed in spite of our hardships. We believe in so many shoulds and shoulds nots here on earth. Shoulds nots, Lord. We believe in so many shoulds and should nots here on earth. Now, I do not mean to imply that it is wrong to strive for greatness. I do mean to imply that it is wrong to blame others for our physical, mental, emotional, or environmental reality. This is not wrong in the sense of being damaging. It is wrong in the sense of being a waste of time, and that it supports a faulty and limiting belief system that does not serve us. If people from former ages could be magically transported to the present, they would doubtless consider many of our modern conventions, which we take for granted, TVs, cars, lights, cell phones, airplanes, to be miraculous, either divine or satanic. It is a common human response to the unknown to throw up our hands and evoke some sort of mysterious supernatural agency. When we don't understand something, we say it must be God's will, or it's just fate, or it's all luck, or Satan did it. We have a convenient label for what we don't understand so that we don't have to think about it. Why did my best friend have to be killed in his private plane when he was so happy and brilliant and successful? Why did my father have to die in my arms when I was 14? Why was my son born blind? Why is my boss so mean? Why does my wife have terminal cancer? Why is life so meaningless? Why is God so cruel? Why, God? Why? It is true that none of us is ever likely to know everything that there is to know. I mean, who would want to? Me, I personally don't care how many grains of sand there are in the Sahara Desert. Do you? But it is quite possible to know anything at all. If our philosophy of life or our belief system is consistently running into a brick wall where there is no recourse but to leave a vast amount of experience unexplained or explained only by invoking God's will or in personal fate, then we would be wise to ask ourselves if perhaps our system of thought is substituting belief for direct understanding. If we are told to accept on faith because certain things are not open to human understanding, watch out. We can spend our entire lifetime in that intellectual cul-de-sac, and when it's over, we will be right back where we were in the beginning, trying to understand why the universe is as it is. Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm gonna get to y'all in the chat in just a minute. Please don't accept anything that the Ishayas teach on faith. Blindly accepting another's philosophy is the surest path to remaining solid in victim consciousness. Make your own experiment with life. Study your mind and experience. Take nothing for granted. From the most ordinary to the most miraculous, there only lies progress. This is why Ascension is based on direct experience. There is no necessity for believing anything about it. Try it for yourself. As your beliefs and habits begin to shift with your changing experience of life, inquire more and more deeply exactly what is true and what is not. More and more deeply what is real and what is not. Thus, only freedom comes. A large part of assuming the mastery of our own lives consists in ceasing to put anyone else on a pedestal of authority. It is also difficult or impossible to assume mastery over our own lives if we blame others or circumstances beyond our control for the way our lives are going. It is impossible to be free if we maintain the mental chains of past or present condemnation or slavish devotion. Realize this now, and you have made a huge step forward toward your immediate liberation. Realize this now, and you have discovered one of the fundamental secrets of human life. There is no one to blame, no one to thank, no one but ourselves. Now, the next step may prove equally difficult to grasp on the first consideration, but is equally important and is even more liberating from past self-destructive beliefs, judgments, and habit patterns. It is this: each of our lives right now is perfect. Everything and everyone in our universe is there for a good reason. They are there to help us recognize our true nature. There is always so. This is always so. Excuse me. This is always so. No exceptions ever. Okay? Each and every moment is impeccable, unblemished, flawless in every way because it is saturated with the infinite light of the Ascendant. Now, this concept is revolutionary only because we are in the habit of judging everyone, everything, every thought, every feeling, and every experience as being either good or bad. Some people we like, others we detest. Some emotions are positive, others are negative. Some experiences are wonderful, others are horrible, and so on and so forth. We believe in a world of duality, of hot and cold, of wet and dry, of pleasure and of pain. Now, before we go into this next little little text thing here in the book, the next part of the chapter is called Good Ascendant versus Bad Ascendant. I'm going to drink some water and I'm going to hit my joint one more time, okay? So y'all go ahead and enjoy the vibes. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Whether you're here still, whether you're coming in and out, because I don't know, somebody could be going live that you want to see, that's cool. And for the replay gang, shout out to y'all. But shout out to Amber Cotton in the building, Miss Amber, Queen Amber. We got Queen Spicy. We got Queen Teresa in the building. And shout out to everybody, okay? Shout out to y'all. So y'all go ahead and enjoy the vibes. right, we back. Hey, we back. Ooh-wee. Shout out to my bro, the plug, okay? Because I be trying not to smoke as much. I be trying to really eat edibles, because that's what you're really supposed to do. You ain't really supposed to smoke it for real, but every once in a while, I kind of have a little feel for it. So shout out to him, because baby, I don't even know what this strain is, but I know Jesus has something to do with it. So give God praise. So anyway, let's jump into the next part of this chapter, everybody. Good ascendant versus bad ascendant. Y'all ready? Is y'all ready or is y'all ready? Let's consider the alternative we face at its most basic. Okay? There are really only two possibilities. Either the ascendant is good or the ascendant is bad. I mean, isn't this so? If the ascendant is bad, then a meaningless or at least a painful universe is perfectly logical and consistent. But if the ascendant is bad, why should the universe be logical or consistent? So, if the ascendant is bad, the universe would most likely be fundamentally chaotic. Our universe does, in fact, appear quite chaotic from day to day, but only in isolated instances. Basically, there can be no question that profound order is found permeating every particle of creation. This fundamental order holds the atoms together in quite consistent and uniform ways in your sun, in your dog, in your body. What kind of an ascendant would establish oh Lord, what kind of an ascendant would establish as fundament perfect, flawless universal order? The ascendant could be bad and so perverse that perfect order underlies a surface chaos everywhere. I mean, this could be a definition of hell. Perfect order hinders just beneath the surface, but all that is ever experienced is dark, painful, and insane. Most people are quite mad at their idea of the ascendant, their own personal idea of God. Many who profess great faith are nevertheless, deep inside, enraged that they have been so deeply hurt and betrayed. This is one of the roots of victim consciousness. Instead of blaming our parents or our husbands or our environment or our personal history, we blame the supreme being as the ultimate cause of our misery. Some, being secretly angry, are also terrified that their God will punish them for their disobedience or for their sinful, rebellious nature against the laws of chaos imposed upon them by their God, or for their being secretly angry at their God. If the ascendant is truly bad, these people and others similar to them have every right to be terrified of their vengeful, spiteful God. Certainly, such a being would have no qualms about breathing life into uncountable trillions of beings, setting them to impossible tasks, slowly and painfully killing them all, and then relegating them all either to oblivion or to eternal damnation. If such a God existed, we would all, or almost all, would be in serious trouble indeed. Which of us has not broken most, if not all, of the many laws of the earth life? Come on, y'all, let's be real. Ooh, put your hands up. This kind of God is not just bad, he is most certainly insane as well. I mean, what sane being would create life only to destroy it? Or create immortal life only to eternally punish it? These concepts are so incredibly absurd, so patently ridiculous. The only truly amazing thing about them is that so many human beings have so fervently expressed and defended them for so many centuries. Let us consider the alternative, okay? If the ascendant is good, How is it possible that there can be pain or suffering in the world? Many have said that the ascendant is good, but that there are other powerful forces which are not. These other forces oppose the ascendant's will mightily and continually. Some say that the ascendant created only good, but some creatures decided to try to be greater than the ascendant and rebelled in a mighty war that greatly diminished the universe and almost destroyed creation itself. The arguments defending the ascendant's lack of omniscient foresight or strangely limited omnipotence are truly fascinating, but all boil down to a God that is good, but not quite perfect, or at least not quite all intelligent or all powerful. A God that is not quite perfect is a bad God. What seems to be happening is that people who simply can't understand how the universe can be flawed have to find a cause for the flaws. This is projection in its purest sense. I find the universe flawed. Therefore, its maker must be flawed, or must be opposed by a nearly equally powerful and flawed being, which means the same thing, in other words. For if there can be a second being who is almost but not quite as wise as God, and almost but not quite as powerful as God, and almost but not quite as good as God, there must be something in the universe where God is not. If God is not omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, not particularly loving, kind, or forgiving, he hardly sounds anything like God. But he does sound much like our own projected worst fear. If we worship or attempt to appease such a God, we are worshiping or attempting to appease our own fear, our own dark natures. Therefore, we are worshiping our own egos. A nearly omnipotent but wrathful being, capable of crushing us all like noxious insects, more than willing to condemn us to an unending lifetime of pain and torture if we don't keep his many rules. Why would we want to believe in such a being? One reason might be to force us to behave rightly. For a part of us frequently believes that if we don't make ourselves do the right thing, we will respond by becoming wild, selfish, deranged, and soon damaging ourselves and others. And if we don't even trust ourselves to be good, how can we even dream of trusting others? As a tool for forcing compliance for ourselves and others, then a bad, mad God becomes a worthy ally. The trouble with consciously or unconsciously repressing truth for the sake of forcing conformity is that it will, sooner or later, breed rebellion. And the more forcefully we attempt to crush the revolt, the more strength the revolution will gain. Our church will splinter as ever larger groups of humanity are condemned to eternal hellfire. For the definition of exactly what it is that God requires will have to be more and even more rigidly drawn. When we die, we will be careful to be buried in the graveyard next to our church. We wouldn't want even our dead and rotting carcass, to be associated with them girls over there, with these heathens and sinners who are certainly going to roast in the fires of hell for eternity to eternity. Peace be to such foolishness, okay? The ascended truth is equally in all or in none. Now, if the ascendant is truly all good, all powerful, present everywhere, then the only other alternative is to question our previous perceptions and our own conclusions based on those perceptions. When you eliminate the impossible, what remains, however improbable it might seem, must be the truth. We have seen what happens when we project our pain and suffering outward. God becomes cruel, impotent, bad, insane, or at least indifferent. But what if our projections are false? Suppose, for the sake of argument, that the Ascendant truly is all good, all powerful, present everywhere, perfectly loving and caring for each and every one of his or her or their creations. Let us take a good Ascendant as our starting point and see what kind of a universe results from this premise. If the Ascendant is truly all good, then how can there be pain or suffering of any kind? If the Ascendant is truly all love, how could any level of creation suffer? And if the Ascendant does not permit or condone suffering, and some of creation suffers anyway, does this not prove that there is a second uh, malefic will in creation opposing the will of the Ascendant? There is another possibility. Now, this is an ancient idea, but it has fallen out of vogue in most of the world due to the lack of understanding of how to make it anything other than a particularly fascinating thought. We can take as premise the fact that the Ascendant is omnipresent, perfectly good, and omnipotent if we question our conclusions and perceptions that suffering and evil exist. When we awaken from a dream, what of the dream characters? What of the dream pains, the dream beliefs? They vanish as if they had never been. Shout out to everybody in the building, okay? Because we getting ready to move on to the next part of it, y'all. And we are moving pretty fast. We only got a few more pages and we done with chapter 9, y'all. The next segment of this chapter is called Two Kinds of Evil. So let me go in the comments because I see we have people in the building. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to, yes. I'm so glad that y'all here. We got Roki in the building. What's up, Chris? We got Chris in the building. We got Queen Megan in the building. Oh my God. All right, y'all. I'm gonna take one more sip of water. I'm gonna hit the rest of this joint, baby, because I told y'all this weed got me open. Ooh, it got me open. And y'all go ahead and enjoy the vibes. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is, y'all. 1 second. And shout out to y'all for putting my information down there. Y'all so faithful. I love y'all so much. Y'all so awesome. Y'all about to have me over here crying with tears and stuff like Lil Murder did when Uncle Clifford was on top tearing that ass up. Ooh. Okay. All right. I want that little. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, y'all. It's the last little section, and then we done. Okay, we can kind of just talk a little bit afterwards, just talk maybe about the chapter and all that. Okay, y'all. This last part of the chapter is called Two Kinds of Evil. There are two kinds of evil, or so we often believe: that which results in eventual good, and that which is purely destructive with no positive effects. The second kind is the only significant challenge to the understanding of the all good nature of the ascendant. For the first kind, the kind that results eventually, in good, must simply be good. And only our limited understanding of cause and effect make us interpret it differently. Someone could declare it, bad that buds die. But wait just the shortest of moments. Soon a flower emerges. Who now decries the loss of the bud? So, this first kind of evil is simply misinterpreted good, due solely to the limited range of our senses and understanding. Ooh, I like that one. The fortunate truth is that the second kind of evil, the kind that is purely evil with no good effects, is strictly a mental fabrication of the most bizarre sort. The simple reality is that all things work together for good always. It is only our perspective that is limited. It is only our eyes that have learned to see wrongly. This is a wonderful thought, even if it can be entertained for only an instant. If all evil works eventually for good, then what is evil? It must be a tool of the ascendant. The caterpillar dies, from one perspective. This is bad. But look what happens as the result. A butterfly is born. Is the death of the caterpillar evil? If we were overly attached to the caterpillar, its death might seem evil to us, horrifying, terrible. But look at the beauty that results. I'm sure you can easily think of counterexamples of this theory, thousands of times in the history of your world and your life when terrible things happened that resulted in no good. Some of you may have already abandoned this work, muttering that it is another form of mysticism or something equally useless to practical life. Or perhaps it has already deeply offended your religious sensibilities, so painfully acquired, and you are still hearing only and reading only to find further proofs and demonstrations that this teaching is invalid, satanic, or in some other way damaging. And perhaps some of you who are still listening, a deep hunger in your hearts, are continuing only with the gravest of reservations. So much of human experience seems pointless, filled with pain. We feel we have been betrayed so often before. What if the Shia's ascension techniques are only another disappointment? Surely it's better to not become involved. Surely it's better to be safe than to be hurt again. I agree that suffering is the, apparent truth. I agree that this truth appears quite incontrovertible, that evil, pain, and agony seem the perpetual handmaidens of our short lives. But I would ask you to consider for a moment what it would mean if you could see the alternative. What would it mean if life were not meant for suffering? What if life is in reality meant for all love, joy, progress, and happiness? There is a marvelous older movie, perhaps you have seen it, girl. No, we have not. It's an old ass book called It's a Wonderful Life. The protagonist, Jimmy Stewart, agonizing over the uselessness of his existence, is shown what the world would have become had he had never lived. Everything of his town, everything of the lives of his family and friends was much more worse off without his being there. I mean, the point was wonderful. From our human perspective, it is exceedingly difficult to evaluate the effect we are having on the universe. We could take this one step further, for the absence of anyone's life is simply impossible. All things are part of the grand cosmic design. That this does not often appear to be so does not change the fact that it is so. It is still true that reality is not now and never will be democratic. But guess what, y'all? There is a new way of living. Consider what the requirements for growth of happiness and health are. If our old worldview is outmoded, not giving us everything we desire, if we are sick or not filled with continual joy of life, it is necessary to introduce a new way of living, a new way of perceiving, a new level of consciousness into our lives. In order to do this, we must allow our old cherished beliefs to change. For it is exactly our beliefs that structure our perceptions and our world. It is not probable that peaches will grow on apple trees. If we have grown discontent with apples and desire peaches, we must plant a different kind of tree. If there are areas of our life in which we are discontented, in which we are not living in complete fulfillment, perfect peace, unbounded joy, and if we wish to change these areas, it is necessary to adopt a different way of looking at our lives and our world. When we look with condemnation on ourselves or others, we contribute to a lowering of the vibratory rate of the universe. Now, this does not mean that we should attempt to repress our negative feelings if we have them. Let me say that again. This does not mean that we should attempt to repress our negative feelings if we have them. Repression of negativity, okay, is one of the major causes of the breakdown of our mental, emotional, and physical health. It does us no good to have negative feelings about someone or something and then force ourselves to ignore them. They will have their effects anyway, and the effects will be stronger the more energy we feed them through repression. But there's always a but. We thank God for buts over here. Praise Him, Team Top. But it is impossible to culture a compassion on the world always. Oh Lord, I done skipped the thing. I'm talking about but got me skipping parts of the thing. But it is possible to culture a state of consciousness in which we look with divine compassion on the world always. There we go. That damn but. Instead of looking out and seeing sin everywhere, we can look out and see all people trying to do the best that they can. This is the perception of the enlightened. All the people are doing the best that they can everywhere, always, no exceptions. We might say that one person's best may be another's worst, but this is comparison, judgment, condemnation, not love and forgiveness. It is better for our own peace of mind to have only one conclusion about the world: that everyone is doing absolutely the best he or she or they can at all times. This is the immediate and practical derivative of the conclusion that the ascendant is all good, that the ascendant is all love, present everywhere, all knowing. Another way to say this is to say, at all times, there is only good. What a relief to a tired mind to think such a simple thought. Entertaining this one thought challenges us to see the good in that which the surface mind has judged to be bad or unworthy. Entertaining this one thought propels us deeper and deeper into the growth of our own individual consciousness. Entertaining this one thought inspires us to learn of the good in all things. And ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end of chapter 9. Okay, universal acceptance. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I ended up taking a nap earlier because, like I said, my sleeping schedule is just, it's just all over the place. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do this stuff on the weekend. I'm gonna do this like next week or something. But I was like, no, I just felt compelled to do it. So shout out to everybody who came through. I'm glad that I actually did read this chapter because I didn't even know this chapter was gonna talk about victim consciousness. And oh Lord, it's just sometimes when you have a higher level of awareness, and I'm not saying that I'm better than nobody. Let me cut this down some. Okay, now I can really talk to y'all because now I can go ahead and smoke my stuff and talk to y'all real quick. Okay, like I want to. But I'm not better than nobody. I'm BubzDaGawd. And I can't do everything like everybody else. There's gonna always be somebody that can do something better than me. That's look. There's always gonna be somebody in the world who's gonna be better at everything that it is that I do. But because that might be the case, it doesn't mean that it doesn't stop my blessing. You still love yourself and receive what God's source universe has for you. And that's why I say for me, I make everything about me. Even though there are things going on outside of me right now that are beyond my control, that have me low-key want to pull out my goddamn hair sometimes, I just remind myself, bitch, I'm just gonna learn so that when my time comes, girl, I can handle it in a different type of way. And the fact that we all are going to go through this. Ain't nobody exempt. It's motherfuckers that got so much notoriety, so much fame, so much followers. It's celebrities right now, girl, that got everything that everybody trying to get. Like in this book, in this chapter about material gains and look at me and all this want to be accepted and stuff like that. Relying on a world that's going to change anyway. And that people stress themselves out literally trying to control their outside world when the only world they have control over is inside of them. And once you start really honoring that energy and looking at that energy, you'd be like, girl, why, girl, why, girl, why? Well, how is this going to benefit my physical, my mental, my emotional, my spiritual health? Why? And everybody gonna be hit. Even I'm gonna be hit. I'm gonna have my moments. I'm gonna have my time. I'm gonna have my stuff like everybody else. But there is a way to handle it that is fruitful and life-giving, to where it doesn't have to be destructive, to where it doesn't have to be all this other type of stuff. Because like it said in this damn book, baby, the cause of law and effect is for everybody. Ain't nobody exempt. But a lot of us, because of where we are in our lives, and no Tino Shay, we haven't been taught these things. Even me, I'm 31 years old, y'all. It took me damn near 31 years old to really start living life for myself and really loving me. To where I was, like y'all already know, from my 20s, I was putting all my energy and all my stuff out there as far as relationships because I wanted something outside of me to love me. And it almost cost me my life. Y'all wouldn't even know who the hell BubzDaGawd was. I wouldn't be able to manifest these blessings. I don't care how small they are, how minuscule they are, girl. You got to start somewhere, girl. Everything is important. Even the atoms that hold this whole damn universe together, baby. You can't even see it with the naked eye, girl. And if one of the molecules is popped the hell off, girl, it's a whole multi-dimensional Doctor Strange. America ain't gonna be able to save this. Full-on Wanda takeover consciousness. Karen, where's the manager? Ass energy. So it's like me reading these books and stuff and applying it, not just having the knowledge in my head, girl. Oh, I know what I'm talking about, but actually applying it and walking by faith. That is a very terrifying and scary thing to goddamn do, y'all. But that's where you find your peace. That's where you find your power. That's where you find your joy. I was reading another book that's an Ascension book that I might read next that kind of shares the similar thing. All these books have the same similar concept. You have the power to control your own emotions and your own mind, girl. And once you start realizing that, it'd be like, girl, I'm not going to put my time, effort, and energy into anything else that does not serve me in the long run. You're going to be focused on other things. It's so many people. Let me tell you something. I'm just going to say this. This is me being real. Listen. Even yesterday, I know God, source, universe working in some way, baby. Like me being connected to other people. I don't care how it is. That's why I try my best to treat people the way I want to be treated and spread love, girl. Because when you do that, the you are aware that the universe is looking out for you, girl. And people, if it's one thing a person gonna always remember about you, they're gonna always remember how you made them feel. And we already live in a world where people are hurt, and we haven't been taught how to heal from that. Especially as Black people, we've been taught just go to church, pray it away, and whatever. The book just talked about repression, girl. So you want me to repress it? No, you have to face it, but we don't know how to face it without it consuming us and destroying us and literally sending us to hell, which is the lowest vibration. But in this other book I've been reading, it's kind of been blowing my mind too. It's like humanity has to go to these dark levels in order for love to reach them there. Because a lot of us, yeah, I guess I'm gonna just speak for me. I had to be at my lowest level. When I had my ego death, I told y'all I was terrified. I was crazy. I was starting having some of these crazy ass thoughts. What if I just kill everybody on the block? What if all these horrible, low vibrating, dark, demonic ass thoughts that a lot of people, unfortunately, in today's world are actually manifesting. They going out into the world and shooting and killing people. You just every day. But I had to get to that point, and when I had found love in the midst of that, girl, it was like there's nowhere you can be in your life that you've done, that you're doing, that you will do, girl, that can separate you from love. But once you start working on self-love, girl, you become aware and saying, I don't want to deal with those low vibratory thoughts. And if I have to, girl, I need to learn how to transcend from that shit once I go to hell with you. Because sometimes you're going to have to go back to hell. But bitch, can you get the hell out? So it's a lot, even for me. Like that's why I try my best to be objective. I try my best to be on the side of truth. And I start with me first. I look at my own truths and deal with my own truths first. Then I heal from them. Because as I grow, as my social media awareness and all that stuff grows, trust me, I'm trying not to cuss because the concept of this video. Individuals gonna put me on the cross too. We all gonna have our cross experiences. We all gonna have our walk to Calvary. We all gonna have to go to people spitting on us and choosing other horrible things over us and being crucified. We all gonna have to go through that. But look at what happened. You can go through being crucified and still make it on the other side and have other holes shook to where they start questioning their own shit. That's when you really walking in self-love, girl. When you walking in your shit and you got other people questioning you, questioning themselves, girl, based off of your experience. And that's one of my messages that I talk about on here, that I encourage other people to do, and that I apply to myself in my life, the ups and the downs, girl, is to love yourself. I'm gonna say this until I draw my last breath, and even after I draw my last breath, I'm gonna still be saying it. Learn to love yourself, because we're dealing with a world that isn't knowledgeable or educated or just simply don't want to, girl. It's too hard to face it. It's too hard to deal with it. It's just too hard. But the grace and mercy comes in the fact that, guess what? You ain't got to participate in that. You ain't got to let that affect your aura fields. And that you could still be winning too. But that's just me. Again, this is just information. Look, we all grown. We all gonna live our lives. We all gonna do what the hell we gonna goddamn do, girl. And that's one thing I realized, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay? And I'm attracting my tribe. That's why I'm so grateful that even now, even though it's a small number, that's fine. Like I said, I want the right ones. I don't need a whole bunch of individuals in here, especially ones who don't have any a good a will or intention for themselves and others, girl. That's why I'd be like, yes, let my shit be born, girl, so that the universe can go ahead and remove individuals from my ass. I ain't even gotta do nothing. Just thank you, universe. Thank you. Yes, well, thank you. But the ones that want to hear something, the ones that are connected to my destiny, I see y'all in the chat. I see you on the chat. Every time I go live, I already know without a shadow of a doubt. And even if they can't come to the live at this moment, trust me, I'm getting a comment talking about replay game. That's why I appreciate y'all. Because I'm finding my tribe. Shout out to everybody finding their tribe, girl. Everybody watch everybody, bitch. Everybody watch everybody. Everybody like everybody, girl. So everybody gonna support everybody, girl. That's called community. Community. And I'm finding my community. Like this type of content and other things that I have in mind are all coming, which is why I'm chilling and doing my own thing, baby. I'm manifesting my own life, baby. I'm surrounded by boss-ass motherfuckers everywhere. I said I wasn't gonna cuss, Lord. I'm surrounded by boss-ass individuals everywhere. Everybody winning, everybody growing, everybody doing their own thing in their own way, girl, and everybody getting their blessing, girl. It just makes me look at myself and be like, okay, bitch, BubzDaGawd, what can you do with yourself? Shout out to where everybody at, because everybody's meant to be there. But I'm also learning to, as well, bitch, continue to be me. I'm going to continue to be BubzDaGawd, girl, because BubzDaGawd is who it is, girl. And I encourage y'all to do the same thing. Y'all are divine essences and sparks of the universe, girl. Stop trying to conform to what the hell everybody else doing. And a lot of these individuals who are conformed, girl, they're not happy. They're not happy. They're not genuinely, authentically happy, girl. Not saying they can't be, but they're not happy. And we've grown to put on this mask and put on this facade that, girl, we ain't hurt, girl. Oh, I'm this, I'm unreadable, I'm untouchable, girl. I'm this, that, girl. And then there's individuals in the universe who end up loving themselves, girl, and get a certain level of awareness and discernment, girl, and can be able to see through the damn mask and see the pain and the hurt. Let's deal with that. That's why I make sure with everything that I do, there is a part of spirit in there. There's a part of something greater than me. There's a part of something in there, girl, that benefits everybody. And I like to think outside the box, because when you think outside the box, you start removing the limitations in your mind, girl. And literally the universe, according to all these books, old as hell, and still saying the same thing, girl, according to the universal laws that we are all subjected to, girl, ain't nobody exempt. We're being called to a higher level of consciousness and awareness that benefits all of us, which means there is a balancing that is happening to bring everything back into alignment so that things can flow the way that they're supposed to flow spiritually and metaphysically. So yes, a lot of scary, horrible, terrifying shit is going to happen because a lot of false worlds, false ideologies, false belief systems, all these things that were used as a shield to hide from the truth, girl, is being removed and the light is shining on them. But because we've been in the dark for so damn long, girl, we got this roach spirit to where when the light hit our ass, girl, we be running trying to hide under the fridge and under the cabinets and stuff. But that truth is coming for everybody. And the truth is not meant to destroy you. The truth is destroying all the false things about ourselves that no longer serve us and shows us in the light and says, guess what? We are the light as well. And once we learn to love ourselves, girl, we start to accept things happening in our lives that we previously would have never accepted. Because we didn't see a part of ourselves in that successful world, girl. When you start loving yourself, you be like, bitch, I see myself everywhere. Even in places I didn't even know. 5'2" and all, girl. They got to remember you some way. How can BubzDaGawd stand out? By taking some of that standout energy about 7 inches and being 5'2"? You may not see me coming in first, but you're going to remember me when I leave. Who is that short guy? That's why I say love yourself. There's some place in the world for you, girl. You're going to attract people who like it. I be watching some of the weirdest stuff, girl. It be some of the weirdest people according to societal standards. They got followings. They got a core audience, all that type of stuff. Just find your peoples. Your peoples is there for you. Your people is there for you. It's going to be people that you know, people that you don't know, who going to support you. There are people in the chat that I don't really know personally, girl, but they still see it for me. See, once again, you're attracting that. Just put yourself out there and live your life. And yes, you're going to have hate, girl. Of course, you need that energy. I already told you, all this stuff is transmutable. All things are working for your good. When people give your ass hateful energy, transmute that shit. Like I said, look at it like Goku during the spirit bomb, girl. Limit your power. Make it easier for me. Make it easier for me. All you doing is giving me your energy so that I can be blessed in your face even more. See, sometimes you ain't gotta say nothing. When you know what's going on within yourself and you know who you are, girl, you will not say nothing at all. You will be all the way quiet. Girl, you gonna walk it like you goddamn talk it. And I just had boss ass individuals in my damn life, bitch, past and present and in the future too, who had me looking at myself like, okay, Bubs, you gotta come on now. Come on now. You have gifts and talents that you have suppressed in yourself because you wanted a nigga to want you. You wanted another individual to validate you. Now I know who I am. It's a whole bunch of individuals I know that could be shit. One of them low-key followed me yesterday. When I saw that damn notification, I said, oh my God, I'm finna pass out. This fine ass man that I be posting on my shit sometimes, even though it's more than just physical, it be other things too. But his ass follow me now. I almost passed the hell out. I said, God is good. You can't tell me. Okay. Live your life. Live your life, girl. Welcome to the internet, baby. The internet is basically like public transportation, girl. You don't know who you gonna meet. You don't know who you gonna see, who you gonna be sitting next to, who you gonna be talking to, girl, who you gonna be connected to, girl. But in the public, there are so many other people, girl. But know who you are in the midst of the public, because some people will get lost. But just because you're lost don't mean you can't be found again, girl. We all gonna have moments where we gonna be confused, girl. Our ego, our human side that we don't ignore, that we trying to learn to balance, girl, is gonna feel some type of way sometimes because we want to know. But that's why we have to tap into the spiritual aspect, girl. And it's kind of difficult to tap into that spiritual aspect when our ego is so strong to where we can't even really try to apply the shit to our life or even really think the thought, oh, that ain't gonna happen. But what if though? You're the only one that's preventing it from happening. You are. You're standing in your own way. Again, victim consciousness, girl, we be blaming it on other people, girl. No, sometimes we done put ourselves in those situations, girl. And if you done forgot, guess what? The universe gonna help your ass see. Remember the light? And also don't take it personal, girl, because everybody gonna go through it. Everybody on this chat, everybody on this planet that's still breathing, girl, is gonna have to go through this. Ain't nobody exempt. Ain't no king. Ain't no master. Ain't no priest. Ain't no emperor. Ain't no dictator. Ain't no millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, girl. Ain't no I'm this bitch. I'm that girl. I'm unreadable, girl. I'm the queen. I'm this. Ain't nobody, girl, that's gonna be able to escape that universal thing, bitch. We all gonna have to go through it. And if we learn to love ourselves as we going through it, girl, we can learn to love other people while they going through their stuff and really build community. That's just what I'm about, girl. What y'all saying in the chat? Oh, y'all seen the old ass movie. Excuse me, I guess I was the only one who ain't seen it. My bad. They said, excuse me. Okay, we got cable. We be watching Turner movie classics. It's okay. I'm late because I was being missed with Ian. Oh Lord, what he talking about now, Jesus? I'm gonna have to go to Dollar General tomorrow and buy me some more candles. I'm gonna get stock up on some bitches, girl. Get a whole bunch of white candles and just pray. Universe, Lord, help, girl, help us. This was good. Thank you. I wanted to bring some balance. Somebody gotta do it, girl. Somebody gotta do it, girl. Now I wish I wasn't the only one. I'm like, what's the name said, bitch? I might be dressed like a Power Ranger, but I need help from the gate. Girl, come help me, please. It ain't even my battle. We try. We try. Oh, Lord Jesus. The world is so much these days. Peace, love. Yes, yes. And that's why it starts with us first. We got to find it in us first. And then when we find it in ourselves, girl, that's when we start to really manifest a lot of the sayings that was said in the Bible. Because like I said, girl, religion in itself, girl, the whole thing is not the truth. There are certain parts in there that point you to the truth, girl. You still got to go within yourself, girl. And in the scriptures, girl, when it says the peace that passes all understanding, girl, that's something that you have to experience. I heard somebody say one time, and it was wise too, God cannot be explained. It can only be revealed. And it's only revealed through personal experience. That's why for me, and just in my opinion, like I know in this book it said, shout out to our religion stuff, girl. And yeah, shout out to the parts of religion, girl, that's about Christ. But this other part, girl, I'm sorry. I still might be in my ego because I'm human. But girl, like what did Leandra Johnson say, girl? F the system, girl. And you know I mean it, girl, when I don't cuss. Okay? F the system. But it's like, ain't nobody gonna show you this. When I had my ego death, girl, and I experienced the lowest of lows that I could ever experience in my life, girl, I don't know nobody else, girl, but the low that I was at had me scared. Like, oh, girl, am I ever coming back from this? Like, literally losing your mind. Like, literally, I thought I was gonna be locked up in a padded cell somewhere, slob dripping down my damn face. One flew over the cuckoo's nest, girl. Where's Nurse Ratchet, girl? Just take me out, type of thing. He's over there by the window. All that type of stuff. I'm gonna break a window. That type of shit. No tea, no shade. And nothing in my whole religious career, girl, because I told y'all I grew up in Baptist church. I grew up in it. Young as hell, being baptized, being the children's choir, leading children's choir, doing plays and stuff, being the master of ceremony, all this stuff, just very much heavily involved in religion. Nothing in my religious career prepared me for that moment. And that's why I'm spreading this type of information out there, because a lot of people are going to have what is known as a dark night of the soul, where they're going to have to find God for themselves, girl. And some people may not be in the mindset to even know what that's like, girl. A strong foundation in their own selves, because there's going to come a moment where the pastor ain't going to be able to pick up, the deacons of the church ain't going to be able to come by the hospital, girl, and sing with you and do devotion and do all that stuff and give you communion wine, girl. The mothers of the church going to be doing something else. There's going to come a point in time where you're going to be by yourself. And when we look at things outside of ourselves and we don't have a strong foundation of self-love and maintain that self-love, that can be a scary ass world, because we feel subjected under something that we can't control, and that's terrifying. But when you're able to tap into yourself and really get to that point to where you love yourself, to where you can really look at things and say, okay, even though this is bad right now, I know that God, source, universe, something in this is for me, and I have to discover what that is. Once you start looking at it that way, life is different, to where you don't have to live in fear, even though the outside world would think that you should be fearful. Look, y'all, I could talk about this all day. I literally can, because there's so much in the world that we need to address. And that's why I be all over the place sometimes, because it's like, God, it's just so much. So much. But then I have to remind myself that, girl, start with yourself. Start with yourself. And then when you start with yourself, others will be inspired and they will start with themselves. And that's how we literally make bigger changes. We as individuals make up the whole. And once individuals start taking their own self serious and relying on their own self-power and realizing that they are connected and that there is nothing that can ever separate them from that connection, despite what the outside world might think, believe, want to believe, no matter what. And a lot of them outside of us are very confused and blinded at their own interpretations of life. But when you can find that solidity within yourself, baby, your life is different. Your life is changed. It's just like waking up from the matrix, baby. It's some things you just can't forget, and it's going to be terrifying at first because your whole reality, this whole false sense of self that you had for yourself, that you were comfortable in, but yet it was just so limiting and so destructive and so people pleasing, girl. Once you let go of that and you start to experience what freedom is and the power that comes with freedom and what self-love does as far as planting your feet like a tree planted by the waters, and it cannot, girl, what is cannot? It cannot be moved, bitch. I told you that tongue be good sometimes. Cannot. Some niggas are like that. I'm just saying, on certain places. But there is nothing that you cannot experience that will shake you. And that is possible for everybody. It's not just some dream. It's not just something someone else can do, girl. We can do so much more. But we have to tap into our own potential. Tap into our own power. We've been searching for God, source, universe, and every other place except for the one place where it's been this entire time, inside of us. So y'all, I'm about to go ahead and enjoy the rest, because I didn't even get to really hit the rest of this little joint thing that I made, because I smoke papers. I'm sorry. I just like that. Yeah, I'm saying. And I'm probably gonna chill for the rest of the night. Chill for the rest of the night. But I hope that this podcast has blessed you in some way. I hope that it helped you to think about certain things within yourself. And despite everything that's going on outside of us, a lot of the craziness that is going on right now, like finding a way to still balance yourself. Because that same energy, baby, that craziness energy, girl, is happening on a very large scale, not just on certain platforms, girl, but just in general in life, on and off the internet, girl, that are getting very, very out of control. But once again, you have the power to control your own flow in your own universe. And there are other people out there who are doing the same thing, and you're connected to them, which is why I'm so grateful for all the people in the chat. So let me go ahead and give y'all shout outs. Shout out to Miss Teresa, Queen Teresa in the building. Shout out to Roki in the building. Shout out to Spicy. I always be trying. I be getting this name messed up all the time. Melanificent. Shout out to you. If I messed it up, I'm so sorry. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Blame Society TV. Who else we got in here? Shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to those Chris T. Yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to those who peeked in, and shout out to the replay gang. Like, I really appreciate y'all. Please share this video and like this video. It's free 99. It takes y'all a millisecond. Just come on, y'all. Y'all can at least hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Come on. But I hope that y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay, see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the Smash and Pass with Smash and Pass. Smash or Pass with my bro Aaron. And I will see y'all then. Peace. Enjoy the vibes on the way out. Love y'all.